favorites.
How funny is it watching her say that the allegations are baseless, but even on the friendliest interviews, and she has found the most friendly interviews she could find, she will not respond to the allegations other than say that they're baseless.
Well, baseless
won't even answer Chris Hayes at MSNBC.
Right, but baseless doesn't mean that she's not guilty.
Of course.
What she's saying is it's baseless. In other words, it doesn't reach the bar that she would get indicted or convicted, which I think it does, but, you know.
I mean, and again, the greatest irony of all is that this is a person that concocted the most ridiculous case ever against a man for purely political reasons. It was so obvious to everyone, and she's getting the just desserts. I mean, this is it's amazing that you dug all of this up, and she had this, and she must have known she had this, and she was dumb enough to do what she did.
Well, I believe that she was protected by the Democratic machine in Brooklyn, which is where she was born and bred, and she thought she was going to probably get a job in the Biden administration. Who the hell knows? But the fact is, on the ground, she's guilty.
Yeah.
She put pen to paper over 40 years. It's not a one-off mistake. It's not a gotcha. Oh, you forgot to check the box. You got 40 years of fraud.
You've dug more into her. $40,000 in taxpayer-funded travel on private jets. I guess they were going to campaign events.
Oh, not it gets worse than that.
Yeah,
because I put in a FOIL request, and New York State doesn't have any documents. They give me back a spreadsheet with the invoice numbers and the voucher numbers, but they don't have any documents to back it up. They don't even have documents to show me on their procedures for handling this sort of stuff. They say they don't have any. I mean, you know, the cover-up is worse than the crime. I get it. That's what they're doing now. That's the phase that she's in now. Damage control.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me today. If you haven't already, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel, and most importantly, please make sure that you are following me on Telegram at TD Media Group to help circumvent social media censorship and shadow banning. And with the introduction out of the way, let's get into today's news. And today, yes, we are headed back to New York to speak about Big Tish, the Queen of New York. Miss No One is above the law except for me herself, Letitia James, at least until that federal indictment comes down. Oh yes, we have to talk about Big Tish again because we're still going to continue to dig into her past, particularly surrounding a situation in which one of her aides, Ibrahim Khan, got hit with a couple sexual harassment complaints, to which Big Tish covered it up. She doesn't deny covering it up. She just claims that she covered it up to protect the victims. When in reality, what we all know to be true, or at least in my opinion, I assume, she covered it up to protect her behind while running for re-election back in 2022. She didn't want this situation surrounding her aide to bring her down. That's clearly why she covered it up. But if you let her tell it, I was protecting the women by covering up my aide's sexual harassment complaints. Well, now what we find out here as we continue to dig in her past is that internal documents confirm AG Letitia James knew about aide's sexual harassment scandal well before the election. So she always knew. She knew about it way before the election, which tells me and signals to me that she planned it all out well to cover his situation up so that it didn't hamper and bring down her reelection. This woman is as crooked as it gets, ladies and gentlemen. Let's dive into it. Let me go over to the article, scroll down, and let's get to reading. Internal documents released by Attorney General Letitia James' office Monday night confirmed she knew about the sexual harassment allegations lobbed against a longtime top aide for more than a month before Election Day, but chose to keep it under lock and key before voters went to the polls. Unbelievable. I got to stop saying unbelievable. It is very believable at this point. She's just crooked. She's just crooked. I mean, it's extremely believable, honestly. I believe it. James and her office first learned that Chief of Staff Ibrahim Khan, 38, was facing sexual harassment complaints from two women on October 2nd, long before New York's November 8th election date, according to the documents that provided a damning timeline in the scandal. The day after Attorney General's office ordered Khan to switch to remote work and to stop communicating with coworkers and others close to James, according to the email provided by James's Deputy General Counsel, Serena Longley. So they told that man, hit the road, get out this office. Don't you ever come back. Don't you communicate with anybody in here. And if you need to speak to me, you do it via Zoom. But from here on moving forward, all your work will be done remote because Big Tish has an election to win, and she's not going to have you and all your deviancy bring her down. She knew about all of this and planned ahead of time to make sure that she could cover this up to win an election. Instead of unbelievable, what do we say now? Very believable. Very believable. Extremely believable. In the October 3rd email, General Counsel for the Attorney General, Larry Schimmel, asked Khan to stay remote in your position and refrain from socializing with any OAG staff or anyone in any capacity affiliated with the AG. Once again, listen, we're trying to win an election. Hit the road, Jack, and don't ever come back. They told this man to kick rocks. Wow. So the article continues to read, Longley told reporters Monday night that Khan was ordered to not fraternize with the Democrats' associates during the course of the investigation conducted by outside law firm Littler Mendelson, which was hired by the AG office. A source briefed on the investigation previously told the Post that none of the allegations involved current employees. They really tried to keep this under wraps before the election, the source said. Khan submitted his resignation on November 22nd, according to a copy of the letter, and stopped working with James's office on Friday, the same day the New York Times reported that Littler Mendelson substantiated allegations of his unwanted kissing and touching. Ugh, who does that? James has yet to speak publicly on Khan's resignation, though her office has claimed she followed proper procedures with the aide whose ties to her stretch back to her time serving as New York City's public advocate. So she's been with him, or I should say he's been with her for a long time. We're talking about from the beginning, since she was at the bottom of the political totem pole up until she rose all the way to the top as AG. And I quote, the Office of Attorney General has protocols in place to thoroughly investigate any allegation of misconduct. The office takes these matters with the utmost seriousness, and this situation is no different. An independent, impartial investigation was conducted, and the employee has since resigned. AG's spokesman, or I should say spokeswoman, Delaney Kemper, previously said on the matter. Several state Republicans are calling for a probe into James's decision to keep her staffer's sexual harassment complaints under wraps until after she won her reelection bid. The Albany swamp is as nauseous as ever, said Assemblyman Karen Michael Lawler. New Yorkers have a right to know whether or not the top law enforcement officer in the state suborned sexual harassment, covered it up, or delayed addressing it to win an election. And it is so obvious that she did. So obvious that she did. This cannot wait until the state legislature reconvenes in January. The State Assembly Judiciary Committee must convene a formal investigation at once into what Attorney General James knew, when she knew it, and why that information was withheld. Assemblyman Colin Schmidt said Sunday, this woman has been operating above the law literally for years, and she's running around having the audacity to say that no one is above the law, especially the president of the United States. No one is above the law, including billionaires and oligarchs. She's running around here with her chest out, screaming that no one is above the law. Meanwhile, the only one that's consistently operating above the law in New York, seemingly, is Big Tish. She's the only one that's running around here doing whatever she wants. That's why I call her the Queen of New York. Not because I revere her in that way with any type of respect, but I mean, Lord have mercy, until something actually happens and this woman actually pays for her crimes in some way, shape, form, or fashion. She's the Queen of New York, and she keeps getting reelected. She's the Queen of New York, and this is crazy. This is why this federal indictment is so crucial. It's so crucial because people like this have to be held accountable. They have to, or else this kind of stuff just runs amok. It's crazy, man. Let's carry on. Now let's wrap this up. State Republicans also voiced concerns that Littler Mendelson, which was tapped on October 4th to investigate the claims against Khan, employs a former assistant attorney general. Longley said the AG's office took extra precaution to ensure a fair, impartial, and thorough review by hiring an outside firm, and added that the investigative team did not include any former members of OAG. A spokesperson for Littler Mendelson said their attorney, who had previously worked for the Attorney General's office, had no involvement in this matter coming to Littler and has no involvement in the investigation. Sure, of course not. The attorney only learned of the investigation after reading the Times article published about it on December 2nd. To assure independence in this investigation, at the time that Littler was retained by the OAG, the firm placed an ethical wall between the attorneys and staff handling this matter and all other Littler attorneys and staff, the spokesperson said. Khan has long worked with James, first serving as a top advisor on her successful campaign for New York City Public Advocate in 2013. After the win, she named him her chief of staff and first deputy public advocate. In September 2017, when James was the city's public advocate, the Post published an exclusive report about a former employee who accused Khan, James's chief of staff at the time, of drugging and sexually assaulting her. Okay. So back in 2017, this guy was out here essaying women, drugging them. So this guy he has a history of this. I want you to pay attention to the fact that her top aide, Letitia James' top aide in 2022, when the story broke, already had a long history of drugging and essaying other women from as far back as 2017. She knew all this stuff, never gave him the boot. And when push came to shove, to make sure that she can win her re-election bid, to make sure she can win her election in 2022, she covered his situation up concerning sexual harassment. This guy has been a demon this entire time that she's been with her. She never cared, always kept him on staff. She got a new promotion. She wins an election and rises higher up in the New York food chain. She brought him up with her every single time. This woman is wicked. Angel Du Bois, then 47, alleged the incident took place during a December 2014 holiday party at the since-shuttered Woodrose pub in Manhattan's Tribeca neighborhood. In a complaint with the State Division of Human Rights, Du Bois accused Khan of making suggestive comments before offering her a drink, after which she went outside and later woke up in the middle of the street. Wow. Du Bois also said that she reported the alleged incident to a supervisor in January 2015, but that nothing was done, and she was later fired in an act of alleged retaliation. You know, they say all the time that Chicago is the most crooked city in the country. I With Big Tish at the helm, it's looking like New York is actually not the most crooked city, but the most crooked state at this point. Chicago is considered the most crooked city in the country. New York has to be the most crooked state by far, because this is crazy. This is crazy. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office investigated Du Bois' allegations and decided not to file charges, and also said it referred her allegations to the City Department of Investigations, which reviewed and closed this matter. The Post removed the article from its website because it learned Du Bois had not actually identified Khan as the person who drugged and assaulted her, and that she had said she had no memory of who the attacker was. Well, I find that a little funny, honestly, if you ask me, that all of a sudden she doesn't remember anything. All of a sudden she doesn't remember who her attacker was. All of a sudden she doesn't really remember what happened. Is it just me, or do you find that funny too? I find that extremely, what's the word I'm looking for? Convenient. Find that extremely convenient for Khan. I find that extremely convenient for Big Tish, who at the time, at that same moment in time, she was still very closely tied to Khan, right? Because Khan has always been her right-hand man. She reported this situation. There was an investigation. As a result of that investigation, it looks as if, you know, there was a retaliatory firing that happened to her. And at the very end of the day, she all of a sudden conveniently just didn't remember anything anymore. No one woman should have all that power. Okay. And I'll just leave it at that, man. I will just, man, the most corrupt state in the country with Big Tish at the helm. And there's more. There's more. I'm not done yet, but that'll be for another video. With all that being said, that does it for today's news. Please hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to the channel. Share this video on your social media platforms. And also do not forget to follow me on Telegram at TD Media Group. That is extremely important that you do that. Please follow me on Telegram. You'll never miss a notification. Link to my Telegram is in the description box below and pinned in the comment section as well. Thank you all for your time. Until the next video, peace and have a great afternoon.